Oh, thank you, Paula, Erica, and Andrew. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Clark Ford, and I'm the president of the board. And with Rev Deb away, today I get to be the platform assistant and also the president of the board, and also give the lesson and also sing. So, hey, you get a lot of me today. So this is an unusual service, and I'm just so grateful for all of the musicians who are participating in this service today. There will be a lot of music, so I hope you enjoy it. I'd like to welcome newcomers, and especially our chaplain for today is John Anderson. So he'll be available in the prayer room from 11:30 to 11:50. And of course, we'll have coffee and treats after the service. So today, instead of a regular prayer, this is going to be a very musical day. So David, Michael, and I are going to sing the prayer, the Lord's Prayer. Now this is a little departure from most of the songs that we have been singing for a greeting. This is Ring the Bell of Freedom. Some of you have at least heard it though. And the singers will come up front and they'll sing it and just join along. The words will be here. And so we'll sing the whole song through and then we'll greet and then we'll pick it up again and go like that, as usual. So please stand. that, say, can we have an amen? So, I'd like to us to say our Unity Worldwide Ministries Foundation statement together. There is one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And our Unity Church of Ames affirmation. Through the Christ Spirit in us, we create a better church and a better world. So be it. Our call to celebration is a duet that Peggy Fadden and David Michael will sing. The Lord is my shepherd. Susan, so read the daily word.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The daily word for today is free. I experience true freedom as I awaken to my spiritual nature. Today I stop placing limits on my ability to live the life of my dreams. I start by taking an honest look at what I believe about myself. I identify false, destructive thoughts and sweep them out of my mind. This cleansing reveals the beautiful being I am, made in the image and likeness of God. What a breath of fresh air. I reveal the true freedom as I embrace my spiritual identity. I soar like an eagle, catching currents of divine energy. As others see my strength and ability, I effortlessly attract my good. I am limitless. Life becomes sweeter and brighter as I ascend into this new understanding of myself. I become more prosperous, healthy, and happy as I embrace my spiritual truth. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. 2 Corinthians 3:17.
Thank you, Susan. Well. Yes. So the subject of the talk today is imagination, and I'd like to talk about three aspects of imagination that have been important to me. One, the first is consciousness. I think imagination allows us to be conscious of ourselves and of what we call God. It's hard to imagine, that most other animals have much in the way of imagination or sense of self. Imagination allows us to see ourselves in our mind's eye. We imagine that we exist. So it's the basis of our consciousness. We use our imaginations to visualize our desires and goals, to visualize our choices, and to visualize solutions to problems. We use our imagination to project what would happen if we took one course of action versus another. Without our imagination, we wouldn't have any idea who we are, or where we're going in life, or why. So imagination gives us a meaning to life. It's also our connection to spirit and the divine. Instead of the lower animals, who probably have less imagination, what if we had an even greater sense of imagination that would allow us to vividly imagine our connection in love to everyone in the world? Where we can imagine our spiritual connection to the entire universe and connect the past, the present, and the future. That kind of higher consciousness is the goal of many of us. Maybe not to be achieved in this lifetime, but something I believe in working toward. And imagination is the key. The second aspect of imagination that's important to me is creativity. Imagination allows us to create. Before we can create, we have to first imagine or fantasize, if you will, about something that is not there yet. You look at a room and imagine how it would look with a different color on the wall or different furniture. You imagine the house you would like to build, or the song you would like to write, or the perfect kind of significant other, or a church filled with people. Fantasy is the first step in reality creation. If you can imagine it, you can begin the process, consciously or unconsciously, of bringing it into being. Paint the wall, create a design, start singing, find a date, invite someone to church. We can start to do all of these things because we have first imagined them. Creation does not come into being without imagination first. God imagined the universe, and then it was so, or vice versa. I like to be creative. For the longest time, though, I never thought I was creative. I didn't imagine myself to be creative, so I wasn't. Actually, I was. In many ways, we all are. But I didn't give myself credit for using my imagination, for the plans that I made, the projects I undertook, or the decisions I made by visualizing alternative outcomes, all of which required my imagination. Finally, imagination allows us to empathize. When you see someone happy or sad, you can imagine how they feel. You might not have gone through what they are going through, or even felt those kind of emotions. But it is possible to imagine it. And when you do, you can then empathize with them. You can feel their pain, their joy. Empathy is an essential part of love, which allows you to connect with others by imagining what it would be like to be them. Well, we all have an imagination, and I think we can nurture our imagination to grow by using it and by being grateful for it. Whenever I get an inspiration via my imagination, I thank the universe. Sometimes these inspirations come spontaneously. Sometimes I ask for an inspiration. When I get an idea, I do not imagine that I necessarily created it out of thin air, but merely that I was receptive to it. The idea floated down to me like a gift in one of those miniature parachutes in the Hunger Games, if you ever saw that movie. A gift. And I say, thank you. So I'd like to take you on a brief tour of my imagination, specifically realized in the form of 6 full-length musical plays and counting. But where did I get such an idea? Well, for me, the ideas evolved one step at a time, one story at a time, one note at a time. I didn't have to imagine it all fully formed, like maybe Mozart could do with his music. For me, my creative process has been more step by step. First, I started writing plays for Sunday school here at Unity, you may remember. We put many of them on right here in the years when we were between ministers. I wrote the Jesus Almighty scripts to bring Bible stories to life with humor. It was fun to use my imagination to create those scripts. But I didn't have to work at it. I sat down to the computer and the ideas flowed. Thank you. For the Jesus Almighty Easter script, I even wrote music. You Live in Me was one of the first songs I ever wrote. The song imagined what the disciples of Jesus were going through on Good Friday during the crucifixion. Later, I incorporated the song into one of my musicals, where a young woman mourned the passing of the father of the baby she's carrying. And so, Peggy will sing, You Live in Me.
Spoke
Another piece that I wrote imagined what Jesus might have said to Pilate about who he is. I think Pilate asks him, right? And so this is the rest of the story. So, "Look at me with your heart" is the song that I wrote. And later, I just used that same song as a spiritual love song in one of my musicals. So David, Michael, and I will sing this song. I think we're both Jesus. Well, after I had written a number of songs, I had the idea, thank you, to write a musical that incorporated some of these. This meant I needed a plot, characters, dialogue, and even more songs. My imagination had a task, and now started working overtime. I created characters, and then imagined what they would think and say and feel. I empathized with each of them. I gave them songs to sing. I liked the characters so much that after the first musical, I wanted to find out what happened to them and hear more of their songs. And so I wrote a sequel. And so it went. Sometimes the songs I wrote for church became incorporated into my musicals, and sometimes the other way around. The prelude we heard this morning was actually first written as a prelude, and then words were added to it to become a love song duet. I wrote Ring the Bell of Freedom that we sang as our reading song for 1961, the musical, but obviously it stands on its own and has now been sung several times in public. Similarly, One Day at a Time was written specifically for the character that John Anderson played in 2005 musical, but it also stands on its own. And we're going to sing it for you now. Thank you, John. To me, the creative process is emotional. When I receive an idea that works, that tickles me, that solves a problem, that excites or inspires me, I have an emotional reaction. Much laughter and many tears of joy have been shed in the writing of my musicals. I might fantasize about being as imaginative as Mozart or Shakespeare, but that's not the point. My creative process is a journey. I'm learning more each day, and my music is getting better and better. So are my lyrics and the dialogue I write. I imagine how each of my songs would sound if arranged or performed professionally by a symphony orchestra. And it is that imaginative vision of the songs that allows me to keep going forward in the face of my own slowly developing musical skills. Every time a talented musician or singer plays my music, and I've heard a lot today, it sounds closer to how I always imagined it to be. So thank you, all of you who have performed my music, and all of you who have listened patiently while the music has evolved. I hope you can hear the symphony orchestra playing these songs in your imagination the way I do. I don't claim to be a musician, or perhaps a musician in training, but I do claim to love music, and that love never fails. Peggy and I will sing, "Love Never Fails." Well, this brings us to our meditation. And our meditation music is also going to be sung before you. And then I'll just go directly into a meditation. So we're gonna play it like that. you to close your eyes and be comfortable in your seat. And use your imagination to imagine that you are sitting in a beautiful place. Your body is grounded. You can feel the connection to the earth. Your needs are met. Feel very creative. You're in touch with who you are. In the core of your being. You send love to those next to you, to yourself, to the whole world. You engage your mind in what you say, and you use your imagination to connect with others, to connect with your creativity, and to connect with the divine. You let the divine flow through you. And you feel your connection to the universe, to everything and everyone. Let's imagine that in the silence. The universe is vast, and we are one with it. And so, I invite you to begin to come back to this room, alert, and open your eyes when you're ready. Well, I hope you're all back, because now we are going to rock the aisles. Absolutely. And I'm literally, I mean this. If I don't see people rocking in the aisles, well, you'll see me rocking in the aisles. We are going to have our offering, and let's say our offertory blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Now for something very different. This is called the coolest church in the whole dang town. We got the coolest church in the whole damn town. We come from miles around just to show 6 rounds of baby. Let's go to unity at Ames. We'll find God within and really be glad we came. We got the power of love, we got the power of strength, we got 10 powers more so we bless these gifts that they may go forth and do the mighty work of unity of Ames. Amen. And now it's time for our peace song.